So it's almost been a year since I reviewed this book here on the channel, and when I did that, I interpreted the ending of this book very differently than a lot of other people that read it. But recently, I just found out some information that suggests we were all wrong about what we read in this book, and I want to talk about it. What's up, everybody? If you are new to this channel, I am Juice. I'm an aspiring manga writer. More on that in the future. But in today's video, we're going to talk about this new information that I found out about Metamorphosis, and also how I interpreted the book differently than everybody else and why that happened. If you didn't check out my previous video, I highly recommend you check that one out because this video might be a little confusing, and also, FYI, spoilers for this book, obviously, because, well, I need to talk about some very key moments. Let's jump straight to the ending of this book, where we know the main character in this story gets the absolute shit kicked out of him by a bunch of entitled jerks. Like, it is just a horrible scene to watch because she is pregnant in this story. And you're just like, dude, this is just, I mean, the whole book is, not a fun ride, to be honest. And, it just ends in one of the most heartbreaking ways ever, to the point where this person gets so beat up, they get robbed, they end up going back to a life of drugs. Something that seems like, they've been off and on with, but it seems like they were trying to better themselves to have a future for their baby. But after going through this, they end up taking some drugs, and we get a hallucination, right? That is what we get at the very end of this. And it's what a lot of people were saying, she's envisioning this happy ending for herself. Because I interpret it as a happy ending. Like, I saw those final 2 pages, and I was just all like, okay, cool. She ends up growing past her crazy past, and she still ends up having the baby, and she has come around. It is the happy ending that she went through all of that crap, and it is still like she got out. She still got out, because at least if we read this terrible, terrible story, and if it ends with the happy ending, we're all gravy, right? That happy ending is literally 2 of the final 3 pages. But the very final page of this book is a floor with some broken glasses and a little bit of blood, which is everybody. There was one comment that literally said, dude completely forgot the final page or something along those lines. With that final page, you might be thinking like, yo, Juice, how did you not understand that she died? Like, come on, that's a clear sign that it was a hallucination. We saw her take the drugs. Like, it's totally it, man. Like, yeah, she died. Well, let me tell you, sports fans, the reason why I interpreted this as a happy ending is because I have seen stuff like this before where you think something happens, but it's not really what happens at the end of the story, and there's interpretations of what actually happens at the very end. And the reason why I did this is I come from a comic book background. This is one of the biggest theories in comic book history when it comes to a story called The Killing Joke. If you don't know what the Killing Joke theory is, at the very end of Batman The Killing Joke, written by Alan Moore, there is this scene where Batman is face to face with Joker. And the final page of that story has Batman laughing in Joker's face after Joker tells him a joke. After you see Batman laugh, you see him grab Joker. You can assume that he's grabbing him by the chest or the neck, and Joker continues laughing. And in the final 3 panels, you see his laughter stop. And a lot of people have interpreted this that Batman kills the Joker. That's why the laughing stops. It is not like it's Batman has finally broke. He has laughed at Joker's joke. He understands the Joker, and he takes his life. That is, he breaks his one rule. That is the biggest theory that a lot of people had for a long time, and they interpreted the ending of The Killing Joke that Batman kills the Joker in the end. Which, if you know anything about Batman, is just the craziest thing for him to do, because Batman doesn't kill. But if he were to ever kill anybody, you think it would be the Joker. And so a lot of people started taking that idea, those final 9 panels from The Killing Joke, and coming up with this theory that Joker dies at the hands of Batman. Personally, I never believed the theory because I always believed that Batman doesn't kill, but I understood it and I was like, that's actually kind of an interesting concept for the ending of that book. So when I read Metamorphosis and I saw that it pretty much leaves it up into interpretation to what you want to believe. A lot of people will see that, hey, that last final panel, it means she died. Whereas I interpreted it, I'm like, well, I saw the happy ending. Like, yeah, I saw it was pretty bad, but even though it was that bad, people can still come out of that terrible shit and become something and have a happy life. And that's what, I kind of viewed the glasses as a symbol of like, she remembered the terrible worst moment in her life, but she's happy now. That's kind of how, I don't know if I said this at the very end of the review video, but that's kind of how I interpreted it, right? Like, that's what the glasses page was, really. Like, it was just like, oh yeah, you went through some shit, but hey, you still were able to have a good life. And I'm like, I kind of like that message. I read a whole bunch of crap, and, it was great, and that's how I interpreted the book, but a lot of people don't see it that way. And it also doesn't help when the creator of the manga himself goes on Trash Taste and says this.
Like, did you have everything planned out from the get-go, or did it kind of develop as you wrote it?
Everything planned out, but I think I said in the afterward that I had the ending out before I started.
Right.
I was like, and I was talking to my editors about it, and they asked, so how does it end? I'm like, well, I just want her to die at the end. And they're like, oh.
After seeing that clip, you're probably like, right there, brother. That means she died. It came from the author himself. What are you even talking about? And I would have to agree with you, that is pretty damning evidence. But things aren't always as they seem, right? The creators aren't always the smartest people, even after they write amazing stories, because go look at what happened with Game of Thrones and Stranger Things. Like, we saw how the ending of those things and how, like, those people that wrote the stories left out a lot of things or just didn't really answer a lot of questions after they finished the story, and you're just kind of like, what? I do want to make it clear, I don't think Shindo L is on the level of those guys, but I've always had a rule when it comes to media of any kind, whether that be a video game, TV show, whatever. If it doesn't happen in the media, whatever the author says afterwards, it doesn't count. If it's not in the book, if it's not in the game, if it's not in the movie, it doesn't count. Like, anything that any of the directors said about Star Wars, they're like, oh yeah, this actually happened behind the scenes and you guys just didn't see it. It doesn't count to me. It's like, if you don't show it, it doesn't count. It's like when people try to rewrite history. It's just like, oh yeah, this happened and this happened. It's like, no. If we didn't see it happen, if you don't have the factual evidence, you can't just try to, pretty up a turd over here. Like, this is a terrible thing. It is what it is. You can't try to make it look better. So if it's not in the book, it doesn't count. And I want to say, when it comes to that theory about the Killing Joke, I bought this absolute volume of Killing Joke because it has the actual scripts from Alan Moore in it, and if you read the scripts, it confirms that Batman does not kill the Joker at the end. It says nothing about Joker getting killed in the book. It just says that the last two panels that are just the ripples of water, you're just supposed to pay attention to the flashing lights that happen, because it's essentially Batman got Joker and gave him to the police is kind of the ending of the book. So he doesn't kill him. So that theory is debunked. It is not real. It's nice, it's fun to think about and talk about and theorize with other friends and family and whatnot, but it's not real. So color me surprised when I'm on Reddit one day and I see somebody bring up Metamorphosis and how it has a happy ending, and I was all like, whoa, is this the happy ending that I thought about? No. Somebody made a comment. They were like, oh, if you want, to wipe your brain away of all the crazy stuff that you read in here and, have a happy ending in your brain, take off the dust cover and see what actually the whole thing was about. Now, I have to tell you, when I read that, I was like, what the fuck? It was like 1 in the morning, or it was very late, and I got up out of my bed when I was all snuggly and comfy, and I was like, there's no way. And I came and got my physical volume of this book, and I removed the dust cover, and I was shocked at what I saw. Because when you remove that dust cover, ladies and gentlemen, you are met with this piece of artwork right here that reveals that our main character in this story is an actress. Meaning that everything we just read was a movie. So you didn't see a person go through all of this crazy stuff in reality. You were actually reading, or maybe watching, a movie be played out. And the woman in it was not going through anything painful or anything in reality. She was an actress playing a role. Obviously, I can't show you the full artwork here, but the dialogue that is on the front cover of this confirms that it is a movie. And if you look right here very closely, there's a man there with the two characters, and, that is supposed to be the director, if I'm not mistaken. So Metamorphosis, the most controversial manga / hentai, whatever you want to call it, out there, was actually a big ruse if you just took off the dust cover, which I actually love. I actually think that is a pretty genius. I love old stuff like this. Like, if you guys, I don't know, you got to show your age a little bit. I don't know if you're old or young, but dude, back in the day, before everything was digital, video games used to do this all the time. You used to open up the freaking flip book in video games, and there used to be Easter eggs in there and stuff that actually helped in game. It was awesome. And to see somebody in manga do something similar, to have you go through this roller coaster ride of emotions in this story and feel disgust and feel bad and terrible for this person. And then, you know, even though I gave myself the happy ending at the end of this book and other people are like, bro, she's dead, you know, we interpret it differently. We all interpreted it wrong because we didn't take out the dust cover. And I think that's fucking awesome. Yo, Editor Juice here. So while I was editing this video, I noticed that I was kind of speaking in a very absolute way, that this is the definitive, like, ending or telling of this story. And I just want to make it very clear. I should ask the question, do you believe this front cover? Do you consider it part of the story? Do you think, or is it only what we got in between the pages, the covers don't count? You know, I'm just curious. Like I said it in the videos that old media used to do this. Like video games used to hide stuff that actually mattered in game. The most, you know, iconic one is Metal Gear Solid. Like you could actually go to the back of the, I think it was the back of the stuff or in the booklet to get a codex to talk to somebody. Like that happened in game. So that's kind of what I was getting at. Like if it's on the book cover, is it part of the story? Is it something we count? Now it does say something like Metamorphosis photo scene 2 ? But it's also like, you know, are they going to do a sequel or something like that? I don't really know. Like, you can take that, if it's a film, you can kind of interpret it for however you want. But I did think it was very interesting because they're going through stuff that happened in the show or in the book, and they're kind of acting as if she's acting. And she's asking questions like, oh, I'm supposed to snort this whole thing in one shot? Like, that's just kind of what's happening on that front cover, which I think is just very interesting. And I'm like, and if you didn't want it to happen at all, why even put it in the cover? You know what I mean? Like, why even do that? Now, it could just be a fun, cheeky thing because, you know, there are a lot of mangas that make, you know, side stories or whatever in their books, and maybe you're not supposed to take them that serious, but I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that I put it out there that, you know, I think it's just a new, interesting wrinkle to this whole story of maybe it was all a movie and it wasn't really, maybe she didn't die, maybe she did die. You know, it's a great thing about media is you kind of get to pick what you want to believe if it is open-ended like this and you don't see the body, right? Because like that's the biggest thing in media. If you don't see the body, it doesn't count. So yeah, very curious on what you think. I just want to put that out there because I was editing this and I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to get flamed in the comments where people think that I am just absolutely sure that this is the way it was supposed to go. I just thought it was interesting. So yeah, back to the ending. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. I just thought this was a crazy Easter egg for one of the most talked about hentais that is out there. I thought it was awesome. That is a awesome. I love Easter eggs, man. It's a good Easter egg. But let me know what you think in the comments section. Also, let me know if you like videos like this. My next video might be something pretty interesting. It was something that I did it pretty much at the end of 2025 that I was really passionate about. So hit that subscribe button, stick around, because I might be writing my own version of something like this.